Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 59. We're getting up there, almost 60. This is a podcast about pop culture and entertainment and things that we are interested in. My name is John. I am joined once again by Andrea, and it's going to be a mishmash of a night. How's it going?
I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of one of those like old school episodes where we're just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, kind of covering things that we're interested in, things that we've been doing, and no central topic, but just kind of a discussion of our weeks and how everything's going. So excited.
So welcome Mike into the chat here. Thanks for jumping in. It is indeed Friday when we are live streaming here. Mm-hmm. Very perceptive. Things changed this week a little bit. Yep. I had some work get in the way, and you've had some schedule adjustments too. So closing out the week.
Constant schedule adjustments with the baby, so that'll be probably a running theme for much of the next year.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, I just finished up in the field yesterday, so...
Oh, you finished already? Nice work.
Yep. When the weather's good and we can go, we're hauling, man, just...
Sure.
Throwing that seed in the ground like mad. So...
Yeah, just literally handfuls of seed?
Yeah. I just walk through the fields and I just sort of toss it out like
just
you're
hold
throwing
your arms
popcorn
out
to birds or something.
Hold your arms out like a windmill kind of situation. Just twirl around, see what sticks.
It's like it's a music movie. Popular
The Sound of Music?
Musical. Yes.
Yeah,
and I'll have two baskets I'm kind of twirling, and that's how it goes.
Take it easy, Julie Andrews. Yeah. My God.
Yeah. So, I'm doing well. Mike, I hope you're doing well.
Corn and soybean seed. That's what Alan just called you. Instead of Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. You could start your own little story, your own myth, your own legend right here, right now.
Yeah. I've had a lot of, yep. All right. Well, if you're interested in that, Library, let me know. All right. So, we're going to get to just some news this week, some actually cool movie and some shows that are coming out. We're going to get to, I guess, our first impressions of Resident Evil Village. Mm-hmm. We'll keep that spoiler free, so you're all safe here. Andrea is missing the glamour chair, says Mike.
Oh, I know, my little sign on the back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. So my husband's working from home right now, and he has to use the office and this chair too. So when he appears on camera in front of his students, he can't really have Andrea and sparkly Hollywood letters in the background. Or he could. He could. Maybe I should play a little prank on him one day and just slip that over the back of the chair. Yeah. Yep. So our office is like double duty right now.
But you got the professional chair? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You got the. Yeah. He's stuck with the other one. Take that. Yeah.
That's right. Well, this is my chair. It came from my office. Like.
I see.
I had to drive all the way downtown when COVID first hit and get my chair. Because we had this like sad little metal and plastic contraption that was killing me. So I got my fancy office chair and I love it. So, and I did the work of hauling it down, 5 flights of stairs. So I feel like it's definitely I earned it.
Mine. I can totally garden it. Yep.
Right. A seagull from Finding Nemo. Mine.
Yep. I can see it. What else? What else is going on this week? Fun things?
Yeah, I mean, kind of a mishmash of things. Like a lot of things that I've done this week we'll get to in the episode because we've had a lot of releases on Netflix. And of course Resident Evil. But other than that, played some softball again for the last time without my doctor's clearance. I just got cleared technically this week
Oh,
to return
okay.
to sports. So shh, don't tell her.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Thanks for that. Oh, wow. It's, I'm so excited to get back out there.
Yep. I was like, "Oh, what do you think about me playing softball?" She's like, "Oh, I think maybe you could do that if you just take it easy." I'm like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
But yeah, so I played some softball. I went and watched Chris play some softball. And then this week, he and I made two of those like Hello Fresh meals, the meal kits, which we've never done before. And I was just gonna show a picture. This was the burger I made tonight. Yeah,
Okay.
tomato onion jam Gouda burger with potato wedges, and then got my American craft brew for the podcast
Nice.
because that's a
Looks like a
drinking holiday
sour or
this week.
something.
It's a
Hazy. Okay.
hazy IPA. Yep. So yeah, so I was pretty pumped. Like I know they're pretty much fail safe, but still, like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, totally ruined a HelloFresh box, but I am not one of them. So
See, let's get the sponsorship. I
that's
mean, let us
right.
know how great HelloFresh is, and let's get the sponsorship.
I just said like HelloFresh 6 times, so I'm pretty sure that counts. I'm on their radar now. They're watching me.
Yep.
So
Yep. We'll put that in a tag in YouTube. HelloFresh.
I love it. I love it.
Well, that sounds fun. I have to say, and you put in the notes here, which is obvious, but I, being a jerk, didn't think of it. Your first Mother's Day. I didn't tell you Happy Mother's
Yes.
Day.
Ah, thanks.
Oh, yeah, Happy Mother's Day. I,
Yes.
that's
It was
my
a it
bad.
was no, it was a very chill day. Um Chris woke me up with breakfast in bed, as is, I believe, very traditional for Mother's Day. So, and I got some flowers, and then I got a gift certificate to go out to the spa to pamper myself while he watches the baby. So that was very
Nice.
nice. Yeah, and then yeah, we just he cooked me a nice dinner. We took a walk. We watched Thunder Force on Netflix, which is very hilarious, if a bit weird. But
So, which one
it,
is that?
it's Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer,
Oh,
where
that was terrible, but you liked it, huh?
I did for the most part. There were
Okay.
some weird moments where I feel like Melissa McCarthy has sort of strayed into some very weird humor bits in her movies, and I think she should get out of that. She sort of like tries to push the envelope by doing these like weird funny things,
Hmm.
and I feel like she should maybe rein it in a little bit because I think she's turning people off with that.
Okay.
And without getting spoilery for anybody who does want to see Thunder Force, which I wouldn't recommend like rushing out to see, or it's like a must see. It's just kind of like a funny, you know, like if you're just looking for some more like mindless entertainment or just like a, you know, an enjoyable laugh for a short period of an afternoon, I would say it's good.
Okay.
But she has like this whole sequence with her and Jason Bateman where they do this like 80s rock dance in some sort of like flashback thing that they're doing, and it gets too weird. It just gets too awkward. Like they try to be funny, like it's supposed to be awkward, and they're romancing each other, but it doesn't work out. So unfortunately, I think that's probably why people didn't, maybe not just that sequence, but like those kind of moments in the show are why people I think probably weren't that fond of it, but I thought it
Sure.
was funny.
Well, we watched Beverly Hills Ninja. That was funny.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of Ashley's. Ashley likes that one a lot, and I've never seen much of it, really.
I've never
So,
seen it at all, so
really, yeah,
really.
I mean, I always felt like I was the outcast for not seeing it.
Is it like a
Uh,
ripoff of Beverly Hills Cop?
no, well, no, it's a Chris Farley movie, so it's
Oh, okay.
um, I don't know what year it came out, but no, it's just that the idea is that Chris Farley was like washed up on the shore as an infant, and becomes trained as a ninja.
Okay.
And there's a legend of the great white ninja,
Oh
and
man.
they're wondering if it's
Of
him or whatever.
course.
And he's a terrible ninja, so it's
Okay.
pretty funny.
Okay. I
It's
actually
got heart. It's hilarious. Yeah.
I feel a little bit, dirty for saying this, but I haven't actually seen a lot of Chris Farley's work. And I know
I'm the
obviously
same.
since it's his
Yeah.
death, like, he's sort of become like this almost cult-like figure with like his movies,
Yes.
like Tommy Boy, for instance. I've never
Yeah.
seen Tommy Boy. And I feel like it's almost this like staple of American cinema that you're supposed to have watched, and I haven't.
Yep. I mean,
So
there's plenty of them. I'm with you. I've seen the I don't know if it was an SNL skit, I think,
Van
with
Down by
Chris
the River.
Farley. No, or he's doing a dance competition
Oh my
with
God, with
Patrick
Patrick
Swayze.
Swayze. Yes, the
Yeah,
Chippendales
it's
audition.
great.
Yes, I've seen that, and then Van Down by the River, his guidance
Okay.
counselor bit on SNL, and that's about it.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe we should be educating ourselves. Maybe we're missing out on like this comedic tour de force of
There's a
American
lot.
history. But yeah.
Like we could definitely do some series on older like comedy classics and different
Hmm.
things that I assuredly have not seen much of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
There's yeah. Alan just goes Tommy Boy. Well, I haven't seen it,
yeah,
so
right. Yeah, again, I've only seen bits and pieces, so
yeah.
yeah.
I know Chris can hear me right now, and she just said what?
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, he's disappointed in
Well,
me. We also watched the other day because I hadn't seen it. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And he was like that and Tommy Boy were like two of my college, comedy movie staples.
wait, you hadn't seen Harold and Kumar
No, I'd
before?
never seen Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
I swear you'd watched that with us in
No.
college.
Mm-mm.
I don't know
No.
where I watched it, but I know it was in college, and it was likely with you guys. I don't know. Okay, all
I
right.
bet I mean, I'm 90% sure that if you watched it with Chris, I maybe like was in and out or like maybe caught like a piece of it or was
Yeah.
not really watching because I definitely saw that movie for the first time.
Well, what did
Like
you think?
there were bits that I definitely would have remembered, like Neil
Right.
Patrick Harris, like that whole
Hmm.
character in there. So, overall I liked it, although I can definitely see how it would not be able to be made today because there are some jokes in
Okay.
there that are like, oof, man. Those are classic like 90s 2000s jokes, like at the expense of someone else. But
That's comedy.
yeah.
I've listened to some things about like what is comedy and what I don't know if we're talking about this in the podcast or not, but what actually makes a person laugh and what is funny.
Yeah.
And like it's pretty interesting because you don't think about that. It's just innate. But yeah, how do you actually break down what is comedic and what makes us laugh and why? And there are like it seems like three prevailing kind of ideas behind it,
Sure.
and I guess I won't speak more on it because it's been a while since I've listened to it, like what those actually suggest. But
Sure.
it was a lot deeper than I had first thought. And yeah, it does come down to though that all comedy is at the expense of someone else. And isn't that interesting how is funny that
Mhm.
causes a reaction that like to you know um ridicule someone or something else is what
Right.
brings us amusement.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's I mean, even if like a comedian is, self-ridiculing or,
Yep.
self-deprecating humor, it's still at their own expense and it's not
Yep.
the audience expense. So why do we find that so funny?
It's at someone's expense. Yep.
Yep. But
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a couple of different things for the first time, so clearly like into comedy right now, even though that's not what we're going to be talking about on the show. But
Yeah.
yeah, watched some new comedic movies for the first time, and it's good. It's nice
Yeah.
to let loose and have a laugh.
Well, Housewives can be pretty comedic. Did
I
you?
was laughing, I have to say, at the first two episodes of New York.
Okay, I didn't get to watch them yet. I
Okay.
recorded.
Okay.
I didn't get to see them, but they're good. It's looking
They're
like a promising season.
I'm not sure. They're a little bit uneven. So I quite like the new housewife, Ebony.
Okay.
She is very just like straightforward, very like, oh my God, these white women. Like
Okay.
and she also like kind of brings the humor, um, kind of at Ramona and Sonia's expense, which, you know, like who hasn't at some point? Because they're up to their usual antics. But the second episode, I'm not going to give too much away here, but they decide to have a dinner at Ramona's house in the Hamptons, and they decide that it's going to be Burning Man themed, and it's just weird. It
Okay.
just
All right.
it just doesn't work. Mostly because it's only the housewives who are there. You know what I mean? Like they're still filming in COVID times, so they can't really like have like bunches of people. And that's what Burning Man is. It's like a festival,
Sure.
with crowds of people and concerts and like, you know, it's kind of like off the walls crazy. And it just doesn't work with only five people. But it's kind of hilarious to watch
I
them try.
mean, isn't that like, so often now adult parties is just like small handful of people. Woo! It's not like the big clubbing kind of house
Right.
party.
Right. Well, and like that's fine, but then just don't like have the theme of your party be like big club party with five people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
cuz then they
I
have like
know.
stuff in the background. They have like performers that come and they have like a stage set up and it's like, "But you're still only five people."
We're gonna have a party. It's gonna be Coachella themed, and you're gonna get here, and it's just gonna be Ashley and I with glow sticks. It's
Yeah.
just two of us, and
Well,
yeah.
I will commit, damn it. But and these women do. They definitely commit, but yeah, it's a bit weird. So,
We'll have like
but
kind
watch
of
it and see what you
off.
think, I guess.
We'll have like Axe scented water that we're gonna like mist in the air. That's like people's sweat. Just imagine people are here and all over, and you're getting wet, and
Right? Yeah. Just
yep,
create like the feel without the
yeah,
bodies.
yep. Make sure it's yep. All right,
So yeah,
got new
definitely
ideas, party ideas.
definitely watch it and see what you think because it was interesting to me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like Ebony so far, so that's good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get there. We did watch the Dallas reunion,
Okay.
um, which was
I
good.
actually
I always get.
out of that. I don't
You
know
did?
why. Oh, yeah, I thought that New York was on, and they were still
Mm,
like beginning the Dallas reunion. So I was like, "What the hell? Like, I'll just stay here and
sure.
watch this." So I had almost no context for what was going
Right.
on, but I saw the fight between Tiffany and oh
Cameron.
shoot, yes, yep, thank you. Over obviously her whole reaction to their dim sum day.
Yep.
So
Everything is getting pretty blown out of proportion everywhere, and like I thought that ultimately the it always surprises me. The reunions, the way they go. Well, first you have the season, you see all the terrible stuff, and they say things on their uh, what do you call them? Their breakdowns.
confessionals.
Their confessional. That you're like, why are you saying that? You
Yep.
know they're gonna hear that. Okay, why are you doing this right now? And so then obviously it finishes, and it airs, everybody gets to see it again. So now
Right.
the season ends and they're all kind of in a nice place, or most of them or whatever. And then they see it and get to the reunion and now they're fighting again. And there's
Right.
chance that they've been fighting on social media till they get to that point. So it's been made all worse. Then you have where you often make up on the reunion and then it continues on social media again immediately. That's what
Yes.
happened here. There was a fresh start. They hugged and it's like we're moving, and then that night they were at it on Twitter.
Yep.
So it's sad.
Yeah. Social media is the worst. Like, seriously,
It is.
just everybody takes it the wrong way. Like,
Yep.
whatever your intentions are, they're like, oh, I didn't intend. And when I put it out there, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, whatever your intentions are, forget it. What is the worst possible interpretation of what you're about to say? Because that's what people are going to find. So think about that first.
I wonder how, well, being we're talking about Twitter, actually, I wanted to bring up that someone blocked me on Twitter, and I've been a little more active than I want to be on Twitter. I usually kind of go in those phases and I'm like, okay, let's not use it or whatever, but I don't do much. And so I was surprised when I got blocked for, I think it's just because something I said got a lot of responses and likes and stuff. And so the guy is probably getting a ton of notifications or whatever. So it's not like I was bombarding him. He was just getting notified constantly or whatever. Sure. So I don't even remember what it was about now.
It is a weird sensation, though, like being blocked, being like somebody cared enough to be like, no. No,
I remember what it was about now, and it's kind of relevant to the podcast. So basically, there was someone that tweeted about what is your favorite. What are some games that no matter how old they get, you keep coming back to them? And so benign question,
Yeah.
I answered, I had said a couple games I liked, I go back to Myst and Tetris and some of that. But then inevitably some people have to not answer the question. And one person says basically to the effect of, well, I play this new thing now. It's called Life or whatever. And I've given, video games, and I'm not childish anymore kind of thing or whatever.
Yes,
well,
you're
of course, that
clever.
got some responses, and I just asked this person, what is it about the medium of video games what is different about video games that is meaningfully different than any other form of entertainment, whether it's movies or television and books or whatever, why is that the case? And so that was it. My interaction with this guy, and got a lot of likes or whatever. And so then he ended up blocking a few people, I guess. But then this person that originally tweeted said, he basically parroted my thing. Then what is it? Like, why are video games still the stigmatized thing? And some people chime in, well, it's the newer medium. When it first started, it had the, it was all children that were gravitating towards it. People called out like how every time there's a new form of entertainment, it's always ridiculed. It's always not given credibility, whether it's first it's theater or then it's, music or whatever. It's always has a set of people that, well, it's not what was before, so therefore it's no good.
Yep.
And but anyways, it was an interesting discussion that I saw take place and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny how long gaming has had this stigma of, nerdiness in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like, only nerds play video games, and like you're stuck in the basement, and like you're like a pale, unhealthy type of person because you're probably like, drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like this really big stigma about what it is to be a gamer. And I don't know why that stereotype has stuck so hard in people's minds when, you know, gaming itself has grown into such a large portion of the entertainment industry. And you can see so many different types of people who are gamers.
Yep.
And why can't we like break out of this weird, like, accusatory stereotype of like, oh, I don't play games. I play real life, you nerd. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep.
It's just so interesting to
Yet
me.
they'll go home and they'll watch, they'll binge watch something for however
Right.
many
It's
hours,
like,
and somehow
yeah,
it's.
somehow that's different. Somehow that's like highbrow, entertainment or like acceptable entertainment.
I have a theory, I guess, that, I mean, in part we have the media to blame and politicians on, from time to time something is
Violent
violent
video
or something
games,
is
yeah.
whatever, and so there's a new attempt at legislation or something, and it's people that usually are older and haven't played them yet, so then you talk about something you don't really know or understand. And then also the narrative of addiction gets kind of pushed around again, through legislation or media. It's always about like video game addiction, and some organization actually classified that as a official thing, maybe last year or the year before maybe. And I think it's that because it is easier to become addicted to video games because they don't end
Hmm.
necessarily.
Sure.
You can play a game. Some games are specifically designed not to end.
Hmm.
And so if you think about a music album, it's an album. And I mean, now you can lump it all together and say, well, music, well, there's endless music,
Right.
but there's not that sort of, there's an input to video games that provides a positive feeling, giving
Hmm.
you the dopamine and then continuing to pour your energy into this thing. So
Sure.
I think it's easier to let it become something unhealthy. And
Sure.
so people see that and think, well, then therefore that expands to everyone. But it's kind
Hmm.
of, to me, that's no different than alcohol. You know,
Right.
you can like alcohol and enjoy it and whatever. And if you have some, you're fine. If you have way too much, it's by definition too much. So
Right. Well, and you can be addicted to anything, you
yeah,
know? I mean, anything can kind of take over your life, including TV or movies, or whatever your particular vice happens to be. So, yeah, so I don't know why gaming, like you said, still gets this like stigma of like, we need legislation to address it.
hmm, yep, yeah. One of those people's like, I go out and I fly planes and I climb mountains
Great.
and drive sports cars and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, what if, and
Yeah,
someone someone responded, what if I told you you could do all those things and still
in,
play video games? Like,
oh, I was
it's,
thinking like, what if I told you you could do all those things in a video game?
yeah,
Cause you
yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, that was that.
that's
Yeah.
that's funny. That's a very interesting reason to be blocked on Twitter. Also, that person sounds incredibly pompous and not somebody I would want to meet in real life.
Well, and that's the thing. And see, this is part of the where you get with Twitter. Like, other people went to his page, then they
Mm,
screenshotted other things he'd said, and it just sounds like, yeah, he's a dour, sour kind of guy that wants to
mm.
complain about everything. Well, okay, but we don't have to like try to ruin this guy's day now because
No.
he said something stupid or you know foolish. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird, especially on social media, it's a weird like you want to be like, well, pot kettle, like, who are you to just like, rain on other people's parades? But then, you don't want to like you said, go and ruin his day. Like that's not the way to be like, I'm better
Yeah.
than this, or I can rise above this, or we all can. But yeah, like
Well,
why does he feel the need to like come there and give that like little sarcastic put down to everybody
yep.
who's like genuinely like, oh, what games do you enjoy? You
Yep.
know?
I mean, like we got into this with the Real Housewives being on Twitter and stuff, and because it's different when you're having a discussion with someone or messaging back and forth, and you can criticize each other or whatever you want, but as soon as the dog pile begins, like I think people don't understand the like the magnitude that creates when like the overwhelming feeling essentially. You can have a disagreement and what you disagree, so it's like not a big deal, like I didn't say much, but then when 40 other people do it too,
Right.
all of a sudden it feels like a wave that's against you, and automatically the response feels disproportionate.
Yes.
Even though everybody's could potentially just respectfully, I don't agree, kind of thing.
Right. It's an individual response, but like so many individual responses creates this like amplification that you said, it can feel overwhelming.
Yep. And then you feel compelled to respond. You can see that with the housewives. They say something, someone doesn't like it, then a whole bunch of other people don't like it, and then now they feel compelled to respond to it, and it just snowballs.
Yes.
And I wonder how much better social media would be if we just say eliminated all the people from there. Not actually, I'm just saying, like in this like pretend scenario here, that everybody was gone, that just their point of being there is to try to elicit a response, an emotional response from someone. Like how much better is that?
It would be great.
I feel like it's a very large percentage of people that are literally just, I'm going on here to try to poke beehives.
Right. Unfortunately, the problem would be like, how would you search those people out? Like,
No,
how would you find those
I just
people?
just as a.
But yes, theoretically, if you could discern those people, absolutely, I am with you. Unfortunately, there's no like algorithm to do that. So it'd be like humans trying to like sift through like individual profiles to be like, oh, this person only tweets, responses to things, and so we got to kick them out there or whatever.
But in this magical pretend world where it'd be perfect, Yep. So, anyways, I just try to keep all that in perspective anytime I engage or do something on there. So, we had asked, or I had asked you before, who you thought would win in my comic from the 70s, The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, Iron Fist versus Shang-Chi.
Yes.
So I believe, not having much to go on, you chose Shang-Chi.
I did.
All right.
And do we have a winner?
Spoilers to this like 1976 comic book, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. They both won. Okay.
Yeah. Very classic.
They were forced to fight against each other, and as happens, and then we're able
circumstance or by people.
By a person creating a circumstance where they must fight. Yeah.
Okay.
And they managed to get to have to fight a little bit, and it's written kind of interestingly, where it's there's dialogue boxes, or like what you're usually the boxes are what they're thinking, but it says like it's kind of trying to place you as the reader in their shoes. It's odd.
Okay.
Or I don't know what, like, how you would consider this, as a writer. I don't know what this would be. I should have brought it in here to read like I'm
just thinking like what's like a sample line of dialogue. Is it like
it's like talking, if you're talking in your head about yourself, but not saying I, saying you.
Okay.
So like you're thinking in your head, collapsing, and you dodge to the left.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so there be separate thought bubbles essentially for Iron Fist and Shang-Chi, and that's how they would do that. So
interesting. And they did it for both of them, so you're kind of like imagining yourself on both sides. All right, interesting. Did you like that? Like, was it? Did you feel like it drew you in more? Like you were like, I'm in here too, or was it off-putting?
Well,
I'm feeling like it's off-putting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed reading it, but it did stand out. So
Sure.
Otherwise, I think that yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was cool. I've never read an American comic book from before the 80s, I don't think. Maybe an X-Men one somewhere in there. But yeah, usually I haven't been that old, so it was interesting. And it was the comic was filled with like ads for, you don't have to be scrawny anymore. Do this exercise program, and you can be like me, the perfect physical specimen of a man. And they had a guy posing and stuff, and it's like in quotes, like he won an award. You can get a trophy if you do this, and there's you can cut out the thing and send in for like the exercise tapes and stuff or whatever.
Oh my God, you should do it. See if it still exists.
There's a home like kung fu and karate one. Okay. So you could send in and it would teach you that. So they definitely were reading their audience. This kung fu magazine was like, hey, children and teenage boys, you want to be tough and cool and muscular and all this, like sign up for this. I can see kids in the 70s, Mom, Dad, send this in.
Dude, you should see if that still exists. Like, you never know.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways, what else? What else is going on in your week?
Well, I finished Shadow and Bone, the book. So I started Shadow and Bone on Netflix. So far, so good. I could definitely see how the show is deviating from the books, but not in big plot points, just sort of like in little details. So we'll see what I think by the series end, because I'm sort of watching half out of I really liked the book and I really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping I enjoy the series, and half out of like the curiosity of, is the series really better than the book, as many reviewers have claimed. So
does it feel like the book? I mean, do they hit the tone and
yeah, I think so. I think the show is a little bit more mature than the books, but I think that serves it well. I think it's more appealing that way. It's a little less like teen angsty, even though they still are teenagers. They're movie teenagers where they always seem like 50 times more grown up because they're of course played by 20-something-year-olds. So the teen drama is a little, removed from how young they are. But I think it works. I think it's good. That was one thing that I noticed in reading it. And that's one thing I actually noticed in reading a lot of like teen young adult books. Like now as an adult, it's like, wow, yeah, okay, they really are. Which, they say right on there, that's their market. But, you just don't like really feel that when you're that age, and then when you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. These are a little tweeny.
I usually age up or down characters kind of in my head, depending on, like Harry Potter, reading through it, age was a little different, just changed a little bit. You just subconsciously, you don't have to like try to do it. You just sort of do. And I do that with anime all the time too. I'm I'm going to ignore that these ladies with their boobs hanging out are 13. I mean, ignore or that they're fighting who knows what and about to die. Like all the stuff that teenagers or preteens probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, wouldn't be doing. Yeah. Yeah, so it definitely helps, like my kind of mental imaging of the book, now being translated on the screen. It helps like focus that as, yeah, this is looking a little bit older in the series.
Okay.
So far so good.
Nice. Well, why don't we go over the drink holidays, and then we have some shared things we did this week and began and stuff like that before we get to some news, and this kind of connects to the news and all that stuff. You'd
Solid.
already mentioned one of the drink holidays.
That's right. So it is through Sunday, May 10th to May 16th is American Craft Beer Week. And I happen to have a American craft beer here. It is from Spiral Brewery in Hastings, Minnesota. It's called the Downward Spiral, and it is their hazy IPA. And it's quite good.
Getting empty.
I know. Well, I had it with
Tell your
dinner
manservants to bring you another.
I know, another. Just Thor style it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had some of it with dinner because, of course, like I grilled a burger and fries, and then I had to have a beer pairing with it, and it was quite delicious. So
nice.
Definitely recommend if you're into IPAs.
Mike, the fitness trainer, if you're in chat, you want to like chime in to how healthy Andrea's habits are right now, being you've lambasted me in the past.
I'm a new mom and I'm feeding my kids, so I get an extra 600 calorie a day limit. So.
Okay. Nice. 600 calories of beer.
That's right. They didn't say what they had to be from, so.
Yeah.
Cookies, fries, burgers, and beer. That's what's up.
Extra meal.
Yep. Basically, kind of.
I mean, how many calories? This is interesting now. I never thought of this. How many calories does that convert to in milk then?
I'm guessing it's got to be close-ish.
But
I don't know.
That's a good question. Because 600 calories in, is it like that efficient that it's 600 calories out?
Right. I mean, it must be because, or like I said, it must be close because I have lost like all of my baby weight and have actually lost more. And I'm eating an extra 600 calories a day. So I mean, I'm sure that's not the case for every mom. So I don't want to like promise anything to anybody. Like, yeah, have a baby. It's the new diet. But it must be close. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way they would tell you to eat that many calories and try to make you gain weight.
Right. But I suppose you have 600 calories, and then you have to take into a factor like your metabolism spinning up, and
processing.
Yeah. So there's got to be some energy consumed out of that. I just wonder how much that is.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I am gonna go. I mean, I don't need to do it right now, but I'm gonna look it up because now I'm curious.
I never thought of it before, but it's like
Nope, just more of the learning experiences you get when you have a kid.
You mean that manga we gave you didn't say talk about that?
Unfortunately, no, because she gives up breastfeeding like 4 weeks after they did talk about that because she wasn't able to. She wasn't able to keep it up, so she has to give up breastfeeding. But they did talk about the fact that like now when she eats whatever she wants because she was so used to that with feeding her kid, she's like, oops, like now I'm gaining weight. I can't have like 6 donuts during the day and it's just like magically fine. So
well, I'm sure that'll be the thing when you stop. Then it's always tough to shrink a person's stomach.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't eat this anymore. Like as soon as you stop lifting weights or whatever, and then go, it's
exactly. Yep. Yeah. I'm unfortunately, and I'll be so set in my ways too, because it's the same thing with pregnancy. Like you eat, like 500 to 600 extra calories because you're not supposed to be eating for 2. You're really eating for like 1 1/4 or 1 1/3.
Yeah.
And so that just like kind of carries over into like feeding your actual kid once they're, on the outside. But yeah, when you think about that, that's like almost 2 years that I'll have been eating that way. And then when I have to stop.
Have fun, Andrea.
Oh, I'm going to be so cranky.
But, I've found then I honestly have had the like the hardest time losing the weight I want ever in the last few months or whatever. Like I've never had a problem losing weight when I want to, like kind of just buckle down and drink lots of water and stuff. And I've had more trouble recently or whatever, but I like for whatever reason, but it seems to me like if you're strict on it and you just like water, your stomach shrinks pretty fast, really. Like it really does. And maybe when you get older, it doesn't, kind of like skin or something like
Right.
that,
Yeah, your
possibly. But
metabolism slows down, and it's just it's
yeah.
just a little bit harder. Not to say you can't do it, but yeah, it takes a little bit more concentrated effort.
Mhm.
So.
But I sure get grumpy when it's that
Yeah.
little bit I'm trying to
Yep.
shrink my stomach. So, yep.
So yeah, so I better
Uh,
better enjoy the extra beers while I can. So. Um, but yeah, so this is American Craft Beer Week, so I'm representing, and I'm guessing you're not representing May 9th was World Moscato Day, but having seen your glass earlier, I believe you're representing yesterday, May 13th, World Cocktail Day. What have you
yes.
got for us?
So I have a blackberry peanut butter old fashioned.
Okay,
So
I was with you when you were saying blackberry old fashioned. Tell me about the blackberry peanut butter old fashioned.
yes. So here is Screwball for the video viewers,
Okay.
Screwball whiskey, and it's a peanut butter whiskey. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's
Does it taste like peanut
35%.
butter or?
It does. It
Okay.
does. It really is more like a liqueur, I would say.
Okay.
So it's kind of unfair to call it an old fashioned because I've seen some recipes but you don't need to add any sugar like you normally would or whatever. Or some people add grenadine that are blasphemous, whatever. All these things you don't have to add
Okay.
because it's sweet enough. So this is basically a glass of this peanut butter whiskey with bitters, blackberries, and an orange wedge. So,
All
but yeah,
right.
it's very good.
Okay.
Highly recommended.
Okay. It looks really good. I wasn't sure about the blackberry peanut butter combination.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
for like a peanut butter blackberry jam sandwich, like I again would have been with you, but I don't know. A
We
drink
need
just sounds so different.
oh no, we need Alan to have a key that's like an oh yeah button. It's when you talk about peanut butter, blackberry, old fashions, that's an oh yeah button right there. Oh yeah.
We're gonna get like a radio show, just have our little side sound effects and stuff like that.
Sometimes I think people get a little carried away with those, but
Mhm.
yes. Mhm. So yeah, that's great. It's delicious. I hope you all out there are celebrating with us in some form or fashion, or old fashioned, that is.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
So a lot of stuff was out this week. Even just on today, that is Friday. Before
Yeah.
we get to that, I guess we can talk about Resident Evil Village just a little bit. So to give everybody sort of the heads up, we're intending to have a guest or two in the coming weeks. We're trying to up our guest count to begin with, but in the coming weeks have a guest on or two to talk about Resident Evil Village once we've kind of gotten done with it. And then we can talk about how the game is, how it compares to other games in the franchise, what games we like in the franchise, what we have to compare and contrast on, and all that stuff, and how it stacks up. And but we've both started, yes, so we can kind of give first impressions.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've just sort of barely tiptoed into the world. Obviously got through the setup of the story, and then through the first couple of cutscenes and exploring the West Old Village right now.
Okay.
So, have you gotten
Yeah.
farther than the West Village?
Yeah, yep. It
Okay.
is a pretty long intro, and
Yes.
yes, I've gotten into the castle and
Okay.
done stuff in there. So
Okay.
I played for 3 hours maybe.
Okay.
And I really like it so far.
I do too.
I'm a fan. So I've been very excited to keep going. I just had a work pause here,
Yep.
and I'm hoping to make substantial ground or finish it this weekend. We'll see. So
Yeah, I'm hoping with Chris being home, I'll be able to get a little bit more gameplay in, just because gaming is a little bit trickier with a baby because you can't just like pause when I need to go to her. You know, like
Mhm.
I can put down a book or I can hit pause on a show or whatever, and it's like, okay, like, you know, now I'm over there.
Yep.
If I'm in the middle of a cutscene, like I can't well, I mean, I can just, you know, leave and go to the bait, but I don't want to because I don't really
Mhm.
get that, you know, storyline piece back. So, or I can't just
Sure.
like stop like fighting and be like, oh, you know, gotta go get the baby now. So it is a little bit trickier to time out um, playing a game that way.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, you know, like I said, with Chris home and he can watch the baby a little bit, so I can get in some good solid hours this weekend.
Nice. Yeah, I was listening to some people talk the other day, some gaming people that were bringing up. Isn't it interesting how portable gaming was always deemed as like more of a kids thing
Mm-hmm.
amongst video game stuff, you know, you're playing a Game Boy or something like that in the backseat of the car when you're driving someplace or on the bus or whatever.
Right.
And how once you become a parent, you really all of a sudden appreciate something like the Nintendo Switch again.
Yep.
Because, you know, people are like, something I can play while my kids are calling all over me, or
Yep.
you're rocking them to sleep, you're
Yep.
waiting for them to fall asleep or something like that. These little things where you can just, and there's so many games that are pick up and play, and with the Switch, you can literally just like lock it. It
Yep.
just goes to sleep, and that's
Yep.
it. And you turn it back on, you're right back in it. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I can see that convenience for sure. Because, and I think that it's part of the reason. I mean, I think there's a litany of reasons, but it's just another checkbox for the Switch in like a
Mm-hmm.
niche that it serves.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, can testify. You know, anything that you can have handy, you know, I mean, gaming on your phone, gaming on the Switch, whatever.
Mhm.
When you're, you know, putting your kid down or like you said, rocking them to sleep and stuff like that. You know, even when you're, you know, waiting for them to get done, like finishing a bottle or something, it's just like, man, it's so much easier than trying to like juggle a controller and a kid and
Yeah.
like, you know, even like the volume and intensity that, you know, you want to play with a console, it just doesn't
Yep.
really work with a kid.
Yep.
They can tune out some background noise, but gaming is such like up and down, you know, between like
Right.
quiet and like the intensity of a cutscene, or, you know, the intensity of like, oh, now I'm battling a boss and like the music is, you know,
Yeah.
intense. You know, unfortunately that doesn't really work with a baby.
And I mean, in fairness, like those big cinematic games, that's how you want to experience them.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's just like it's just
You just
you
can't
find yourself,
multitask.
yeah, you find yourself gravitating towards different kinds of games on the Switch often. There's games that are like, I want. There's been games that have been on Game Pass. I'm like, I want this one on Switch though, like
Yep.
because I'm usually playing it docked. But man, it's nice when you're in bed or Ashley's watching something and I can be next to her and play. You know, like you could these other kinds of games where,
Yes.
um, it like they're no less good. They're just a different style, and it works so well for that kind of drop in, drop out thing.
For
So,
sure. Yeah, Resident Evil is definitely not a drop in, drop out. I mean, obviously you
mhm.
can turn it off on and off and leave it, but yeah, it's just not quite the same. Just like, oh, like that was a fun, you know, little 30 minutes. Like now I'm done. It's, you know, you got
Yeah,
to sit down and play it.
yeah,
But
it,
yeah, what I have been able to get into has been fun. Um, I feel like they give you a lot of setup to get used to the
mhm.
controls and get used to, like, you know, how you're going to be moving around. from your perspective, like your first person perspective,
Yep.
which I feel like all works very well.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thematically similar is
Mm-hmm.
Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
On Netflix, season 4, the final season,
Yes.
property based on a video game, has I won't say begun. It released Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and I am 3 episodes in.
I am one.
You're 1, okay. So we're also going to bring on a guest. He was on before to talk about Castlevania previously, so that'll be coming up in well, maybe potentially very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's 10 episodes long this season,
Mm-hmm.
and every episode gets done. We just want to continue the next one. They go by so fast too.
They
We had to
do.
like stop because it's like we're just gonna blow through this, and then Castlevania is gonna be done. So like, yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
want to rewatch it when we're finished or something. You know, at some point, like I feel like it would be a really good show to marathon or you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it'd be very easy to marathon. The episodes are nice and short, though they pack a lot in, not in an
Mm,
overwhelming way. They just the pace of Castlevania I really really enjoy. Their writers just know how to pack enough into an episode where you're following everything, but it just flies right by.
yep.
Um, so yeah, so it'd be fun to go back and just like binge it, especially because Chris is convinced that he didn't watch the first season, and I don't know how that's even possible because it's like four
It's just
episodes
short.
long.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's like
I
a short movie.
yeah, so I just feel like maybe, he just doesn't remember because it was so long ago or something, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure we'll go back and binge it, or at least we'll rewatch the first season. But I feel like that's
Well,
just
to
gonna be me
me,
wanting to rewatch the second and third. So.
yeah. To me, the way to do it is to watch the first season as a film. Turn
Hmm.
off the lights, turn up the sound, watch the first season as a film, and then maybe, you know, however you want to pace the rest of it, 2 episodes a day or something like that. Because
Sure.
season 1, yeah, being so short as sort of the test case, setting everything up is is really, I think, best enjoyed back to back to back.
Hmm.
And then season 2 is the one that gets slower.
Yes.
That's the one that they bring in a whole lot more stuff. They kind of expand the world, and they take too long to do that, in my opinion.
Yes.
But once that's done, then it's just like rocking. It's just,
Yep.
I hope people don't sleep on this show that maybe aren't used to watching something animated, um, because I just think it's very well handled.
Hmm.
It's I like everyone's story.
Yeah.
That's uncommon in a show.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Everybody's got pull. Everybody's
yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think if anybody out there is hesitant on animated series, this is one of the best ones. So, you know, this would be my recommendation for anybody looking to dive into an animated series.
So, um, off topic, if there was one television show that you could make me watch that we would talk about on this podcast, do you have anything in mind?
Oh my goodness. That's like
It's like, John, you
such
must watch this show. We will
it's like
discuss it.
so huge. Um Probably okay, does it have to be current? Does it like anything
No,
ever?
anything ever.
Anything ever. Buffy.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
How
Yep.
long is that?
7 seasons.
7 seasons. Oh
Mhm.
my
Yep.
gosh.
Yep. I loved it though. Like
Okay.
the first to be honest, like the first 3 are my absolute just like
Oh,
favorite. Like they're just
okay.
amazing, amazing cinema, or excuse me, media, because it's a
Hmm.
television show, of course. Um, the first 3 are just so insanely good, and 4 through 7 are still good. they're a little bit the same because it suffers from that, like the first three are in high school, and
Okay.
the show just like has its rhythm, it has its footing, like everything just fits. And then we move into the college years, and
Mhm.
like any show that moves from high school to college, it suffers a little bit, so it struggles to like move into that next chapter, but it's still really good. And it's I think peak Joss Whedon. Like, it's not Joss Whedon trying to take over Justice League and messing
I
up
was gonna
all of
say
that
it. Not
business.
saying much to me.
No, I know. This is like peak Joss Whedon.
Okay.
So I absolutely love the
Good news.
series, and definitely spawned some excellent. Oh, thank you, Alan. Um, Definitely spawned an excellent spinoff in Angel, and then also continued into a season 8 in a comic series, which is really, really good.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, quite a bit of fun. And that's definitely like the show that defined like my teen, you know, TV watching years on the WB.
Yep. I can see that. I can see you like ready to
Yeah.
be Buffy.
Yep. Absolutely. I definitely dressed as her for Halloween, like at least once, probably twice. Um, yeah, I was not like a Dawson's Creek kind of girl. I was a Buffy kind of girl.
Dawson's Creek. Yeah, I didn't watch
Yeah.
any of that. I didn't watch any of that stuff. Man, I don't know.
I
I don't know
I
where I went.
tried to watch Dawson's Creek because it was like there was like that 90s like nostalgia that was going around, and like they had like a Dawson's Creek reunion, and everybody was like, "Oh, remember when we watched this?" And I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I'll give it a shot." No, no. I didn't even last like a season. I was done. Couldn't
So
handle
does
it.
Buffy hold up? Have you rewatched some of it? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm making Chris rewatch it because when I found out he hadn't watched it, like that was like grounds for divorce.
hmm
The
hmm
father of my child will not live his life without seeing Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wow.
So,
So
um, yeah, so we've been rewatching it together, and I really still think those first three seasons hold up very well. We haven't gotten into like 4, 5, and 6 and 7 yet, so I'll have to see. But yeah, it does hold up.
okay. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. And other things that are older that hopefully hold up. Uh, Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Hmm.
Um, Ashley is playing that as we speak. She's very excited. That's her like epic, like new Star Wars movie is out kind of thing.
Right?
But so yeah, I've never really experienced those. I've tried starting the first one a couple times and just
Just can't.
yeah, just didn't. I'm sure that's my fault, and I'm sure this new one would be better. You know, they've kind of modernized stuff a little bit, I guess. So yeah, I might try it yet, but still be playing
It's
it for a while, and I'm not going to buy a separate copy myself or whatever. So
sure. Sure. It's so hard when you really want to like something and you've started it so many times and you just like can't get there, you know?
hmm
I I
well,
always I always go back to like that anime K that I really wanted to like because of
oh,
that.
but that got so bad.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
wanted to like it, and I started it like 4 different times, and like the visuals on it were so cool, and then
Yeah.
it was just the story just was
Yep.
terrible, and I couldn't get into it.
Well, do you ever feel like you've just the time has passed? You know,
Yes, yes. You only get a certain amount of tries to start something, and then you're just,
Mhm.
you just can't do it anymore. It's
I
like I
mean,
gotta move on. I got other stuff.
yeah, I remember when Mass Effect the first one came out, Xbox exclusive. I remember that it looked really cool. I wanted to play it, didn't get around to playing it. Everybody else, around was in the press and whatever. Oh, it's a great game, and then two, and like but by the time two came out and stuff, it's like, well, I didn't play the first one, and so I just didn't get into it. I think
Mhm.
I think during this time I was really getting into the Uncharted games, and so it's
Sure.
just like my games I'm playing the Uncharted trilogy and stuff, and I just didn't
Yeah.
do Mass Effect.
Yep.
and
Yeah, it almost
it's
feels like
been years and years. So
yeah, it almost feels like there's a cultural moment where you're like
yeah,
you're partially playing the game because you want to, but also because it's like the thing of the moment and people are talking about it and it's,
mm,
it's exciting at that moment in time. But when you're like trying to start it years later, you're just like, but nobody's into it and nobody's talking about it. So, you know, it just
yep.
becomes less that you have to, so you don't.
It's definitely not a necessity, and like Ashley doesn't seem to understand this, I guess. But I think it does enhance things. I do think that the cultural like oneness with something, when you know there's a large group of people that are on to something and playing it now, watching it now, or whatever, is a more satisfying thing than, well, I missed the party, you know.
Right.
I
Exactly.
showed up and I'm dancing myself now. So,
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
but yeah, she's liking it so far. So
Good. Good.
that's that. Famicom Detective Club is out today. There's a couple games that are being released here now. They're like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say visual novel style games. I don't know too much
Hmm.
about them, but they're you going through these mystery stories that I might pick up sometime. That sounds cool. I'm into that kind of thing. I played Tangle Tower on Apple Arcade, and it's on other things now too, or whatever. And it's so good. It's so good. And so this is kind of providing a great mystery to experience or solve. Then I'm for that too. So
For sure. And it's like the old school kind of gameplay, like almost like a choose your own adventure type of, you know, like they got the little like thought bubbles that like are typed out and then you get to like choose like, oh, like interview this person or like talk to this person.
yep,
And it always reminds me of like the video game version of choose your own adventure books. So,
yeah, right, yep,
which was really popular a while back.
yeah. Um, but now we have D&D. So
Yeah.
I mean, not now, but just resurgence. So
Yeah, then and
that's
now. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, it's old is new again.
Yep. Love, Death, and Robots is on Netflix now as of today, I
Yeah.
believe, Volume 2.
I had no idea
I
this was on like or was a thing on Netflix and I just saw the trailer for it. It looks so cool. So I'm
mhm.
really excited to start volume 1.
Yeah, I haven't finished Volume 1. I
Okay.
forgot what happened. I was interrupted. I was like watching through all of it, and there was one I didn't enjoy as much or something, but they're all these different shorts, and
Right.
yeah, it's a really cool idea, and I like it a lot. So I'm hoping to go through one again and then
Mhm.
hit up two. Maybe that's something we talk about on the show.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
I want to talk about this a little bit. Modoc is coming May 21st.
Mhm.
Modoc is from the X-Men universe, and it's a Marvel show and property, but it is being streamed on Hulu, which I
Mhm.
know Disney does have a stake in.
Yes.
But why Hulu? Why are they putting this on Hulu instead of Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's interesting that they are because I mean obviously they're in some sort of partnership with Hulu because you get the like Disney Plus Hulu ESPN Sports bundle that you
Yeah,
can subscribe to. So yeah, sure, they care about Hulu, but yeah, why put one of their shows on it? That seems so weird to me when they're
yeah.
trying to just focus so exclusively on Disney Plus.
And I think it was just announced that Disney Plus has like 110 million subscribers or something nuts.
Yeah, they're doing just
So
fine. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe it's
I
an experiment.
yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. With
interesting.
okay, so that's what I noted in the show run here. Is it too mature for Disney Plus?
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess. But like I've been saying, um, you know, Disney, your image is trash right now. So like, don't pretend with like, let's put wholesome stuff or something on
Right.
service only. I don't know. I just,
Well, and it's not like they're not. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. What would you think of like WandaVision and um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier? They're not like adults, but they are, but they're not. Do you know what you know what I mean?
They don't have quote unquote
They're
adult
mature,
content.
but yeah,
You know.
yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, they're for a more mature audience. Like I probably wouldn't watch, have my 6-year-old or something watch some episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, especially. Um, but yeah, they don't have like adult content.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that you're paying for Disney, therefore you should get all the Disney content.
Yeah.
I don't even like that they do the whole pay for the subscription and then pay a $30 premium to watch the new movies.
Yeah, I hate
I don't
that.
like that either. So
Yeah, they should just go HBO Max style. Have
yeah,
like a different featured movie that you get to
yeah.
see each month as it releases.
I know a lot of them. I can understand they're trying to offset in this new means of revenue here that like offset the losses, as they
Yeah.
transition to this sort of thing. But you're building something for the future. This is you want
It's
to play the
short-term
long game
gains.
here. Yeah, right. So don't know, but it looks interesting. I guess I like X-Men, so I mean,
Mhm.
hey, it's one X-Men related thing.
Yep.
um, and I have Hulu, so yeah, May 21st. I'll take a look. Are you interested in that show? Did you see the trailer and stuff?
I did see the trailer. I'd never heard of it before, so this
Okay.
was like all brand new to me. But it looks pretty interesting, and it looks like it's got a fun cast. So I mean, like
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt is Modoc, and then you got John Hamm, um, Wendy McLendon, who I think is hilariously funny in Bridesmaids. So yeah, I'd be into it.
Cool.
Oh my God, Ben Schwartz from Parks and Rec is in it. Nice.
Okay. Also, you found this other thing here that's out
Yes.
today as well.
Yes.
New movie.
Yes, it's The Woman in the Window, which is based on a novel by A.J. Finn. So I read the book, I think last year or 2 years ago now. Um, and yeah, I was really excited that Netflix picked this up to make into a movie um, with kind of people who we've been talking about in the recent weeks. Amy Adams, who we just talked about because we of course watched the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Gary Oldman, we just watched Mank. Anthony Mackie, obviously, just watched Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And then Julianne Moore, who we'll talk about a little bit more to come because she's also in a few
Ah.
upcoming upcoming projects. But yeah, obviously an amazing cast. I really enjoyed the story. It's a mystery of a woman who is a psychologist, but who is also severely agoraphobic to the point where even with medication, she cannot leave her home. She just can't do it. So she does all of her business online. And yeah, she happens to one night as she's, puttering around the house and drinking far too much wine, as she tends to do, um, witnesses a murder and attempts to like go through reporting it. But she's of course like an unreliable witness, both because of her
Yep.
agoraphobia and because of the fact that she's a big drinker. So she attempts to solve the crime herself, but with the challenge that she can't leave her house.
Right.
So
I'm very interested
very
to see it.
excited. Yeah.
The trailer sold me for
Hmm.
sure, and yeah, big cast. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping to watch it this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot to
Same.
do this weekend, but I'm hoping to watch it. So
Yeah. I
it's
just started like 5 minutes of it, but
okay.
yeah, hoping to watch it this weekend as well. Very excited.
It's one of those things where, like, we're talking about the overwhelming number of things coming out, but when I
Hmm.
saw this, it's those few things that stand out.
Hmm.
This,
Yep.
I need to watch this one, kind
Yep.
of thing. So, Need to have that.
Yeah, who knew the middle of May is just such like a big drop for everything. I just feel like,
Yeah.
there's some weeks where we're just like, man, what can we talk about? What's out? Should we, go back into the archives and, try to watch this or that? And now this week I feel like it's all the things. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. New Black Keys album drops. Like my calendar
Yeah.
has been full of. I just put in the calendar things coming out or whatever, and so I know. And yeah, it's just been a lot. So,
Yeah.
I didn't. Also, Mythic Quest. I'm meaning to
Yep.
start Mythic Quest season 2. So,
Yep. Same.
in another Apple TV Plus show as well as Mythic Quest is Lizzie's Story.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks like I think 8-episode miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And this came out of nowhere for me, and it's another thing that I'm very interested in. It's sold me immediately, and again, I've started to become more confident in what Apple is starting to put forth here in television content, because I was worried they were going to have stuff that wasn't mature or adult enough, and it seems to be not the case. So, based on Stephen King, starring Clive Owen and Julianne Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited about that because they're in Children of Men.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, they're back together. So, yeah.
Yeah, this I feel like has the potential to be like a really great mini series version of, what happened with like Stephen King's Green Mile. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that blending of human drama and a little bit of the supernatural. Sometimes he just really hits those like really great right notes. Like, with Green Mile, that's the closest analog I can think of kind of the parts of Stephen King's catalog that have been turned into movies or TV shows, just because it's like that, human with, again, hopefully not giving away too much, a human possessing like a supernatural ability, which that's what happens in this show. So hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler for anybody who's interested.
The my thing with Stephen King is I feel like he's kind of like George Lucas in the sense that he has a lot of good ideas. He has a lot of like imaginative things that come into his brain, and because clearly based on the bevy of content that has been created based on his works that have been quite successful at times.
Yeah.
But when I read Stephen King, I'm like, maybe this would be better if someone else wrote it.
Sure.
I mean, I'm just not into
which
the
often
style
happens
of the way
with,
he writes.
Yeah, well, and that often happens with obviously movie and TV adaptations of his work. It's somebody else writing it.
Right.
So I really feel like it works a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, maybe he just needs to like dictate his ideas out loud and have somebody else actually put pen to paper, or, in this case, obviously, put film in the camera.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think if I recall correctly, he didn't approve of The Shining, though he didn't like that adaptation.
That's crazy.
But he liked the TV show version that he approved.
I didn't even know there was a TV show.
Oh yeah.
Like of The Shining?
TV show. Yeah, the TV show is starring, I think, a guy from Wings, and the hotel that we went to is actually the real one that's based on for the writing, but they actually film in that hotel, I believe, for the miniseries.
Okay.
They don't in the movie The Shining.
Okay.
That's a different thing. So.
Right.
So when you go to the hotel that The Shining is based on, then they show you video and stuff from the miniseries, not the movie.
Oh my gosh, this guy. Sorry, I'm just looking this up right now. Steven Weber is Jack. Interesting.
Right, he's from Wings, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Oh my gosh,
That
funny.
young kids know what Wings is.
Yeah, right. He's oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. I don't know him from Wings. But I know him from iZombie. He is the villain of the series iZombie, which is criminally underrated. If people have not watched that, definitely go watch iZombie. But yeah, okay, sorry. I'm just
Okay.
discovering The Shining as a TV series. This is hilarious.
So yeah, Lizzie's Story, eight part miniseries, Apple
Mm.
TV Plus, June 4th. Um, so yeah, everybody get out there and watch The Woman in the Window out now. Probably be talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Go out there and play Resident Evil. We'll be talking about that. Watch Castlevania.
Yes.
Talking about that.
Yeah, and
And
show some love to Apple TV because we don't talk about them enough.
yeah, I mean to. Yeah, Alan brings up Ted Lasso. People really seem to like
I
that. A new
know.
season of that is coming.
I that's another one that like I feel like I have to start it soon or I'm gonna miss the moment on it.
Sure.
You know?
Yep. Well, season 2 is coming, so now is the time, I guess.
Yep.
Um, or whenever it starts. But yeah, they've been advertising it. So, but yeah, I think between like Ted Lasso and Mythic Quest, and some people like this, like Servant. I know one person that
Yes.
really
Yep.
liked the one with Jason Momoa. I think it's called, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
what you're talking about.
so that was really good. Some people
Yeah.
liked the news one. I
Mm.
forget what it's morning show. Morning show.
Yeah, that's another
Um,
one I want to start.
then Forgetting Alice, we're in the middle of, and that's been really good. Again, very adult,
Mm-hmm.
very cool, very different. And then yeah, now this Lizzie story. So they're
Yeah.
picking up the pace.
Yeah, I feel like they're getting there. They had a real slow start, and I just
Hmm.
feel like they're just nowhere near on the same level that, I mean, even taking Netflix like out of the equation because who's near Netflix, but even like a Hulu or Amazon Prime or HBO Max even.
But that's the thing. You can't, I mean, obviously that's who they're compared to, but it's difficult because none of those people have just started. Like Apple
Yeah,
started new
HBO
from
Max is
scratch.
yeah, HBO Max is probably the closest, even though
Yeah,
they've been, but
Game of
you can't even do
Thrones. I
that.
mean,
Wait, that's what I
no.
mean. Like you can't even, go there necessarily, even though like HBO Max is much later to like the exclusive streaming kind of
Yeah,
platform thing. You know
their
what?
rebrand and
Yeah.
like moving. Yes, not moving away from cable more.
Yes.
Right. So, but Apple starts with no back catalog. That's what's different with
Right.
all the rest of them. Everybody
Right.
else has a back catalog. Disney Plus really isn't, in my opinion, that amazing, but they have the back catalog,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, and
they've got
they have
content.
enough of the like very hot new shows. Like they had Mandalorian, which I think
Mhm.
was just such a blessing for them. But then, of course, they were like, hey, why don't we do things like release WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki? And, we don't have to make like 10, shows to create all this content because we already have the background content. We'll just focus on
Yep.
these like couple.
Yep. So yeah, and the common thread between these two
Mm-hmm.
pieces here is Julianne Moore. So I just thought, you know, wow, she's looking good here. She's been in
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. Pretty acclaimed actor here. What are your favorite movies with Julianne Moore?
Yes, we do. We seem to have one crossover that we both enjoy. So,
Yep.
and then we have wildly different other movies. But so yeah, so the one we both chose is The Lost World, which I don't think gets enough love in the Jurassic original trilogy.
Yeah. I I have major issues with most of the Jurassic Park films, but it doesn't stop me from absolutely loving them. And The
Absolutely.
Lost World, I mean, I got to see that in the theater last summer, which
Hmm.
was so exciting again. But I don't like the ending. Otherwise, I love that movie.
Mhm.
I just love it. I love that they go a little scarier, I
Yes.
think, with it. I love that they're on an island that is not the controlled island with a
Yep.
park.
Yep.
I love the cast. I think
Hmm.
that there's some good additions. I was always excited because in high school, when we read Shakespeare, when we read Romeo and Juliet, I played Friar Lawrence. And in one of the movie adaptations, Friar Lawrence is played by a guy that's an actor in The Lost World. So that's
Which
my
one?
connections. I think it's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio,
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
and then so the guy, the hunter in The Lost World, he plays
Yes.
Friar, the bald hunter in Lost World. He
Oh my
plays
God.
Friar
Okay.
Lawrence,
Yep. Okay.
and so I'm like,
Nice.
yes, this guy's cool. I can see myself as this guy. That's fun. Friar Lawrence
Nice.
is tough. So yeah,
Nice.
but yeah,
I
I love Lost World.
to no one's surprise, when we read Romeo and Juliet out loud, I was the nurse, the body joke cracking nurse. I was nobody's Juliet.
Aw,
So
I thought for
no,
sure
it's
you were gonna
cool.
say Juliet. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I did play Juliet in one scene, but I've tried to repress it because um, it was like the balcony scene, which is, penultimate Romeo and
Yeah.
Juliet, like
Yeah. Yeah.
romance,
Yeah.
but it was with my friend's boyfriend at the time. And of course, like in the world of high school, like that's like a deal, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, they read the romantic scene together. Like, ooh, what's that about? Whereas like an adult, you're like, we read a scene in a class. Like, stop
You weren't even
it.
acting. You were right. You're just reading it,
Well, our
right?
teacher
Or
was
did
like
you
a
guys
little
act
bit.
it out some?
We did act it out because our teacher
Okay.
was like very into that. Like she was very
Okay.
into like Shakespeare Week and getting all that, which of course for me was really fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
so but
Okay.
no, mostly I played the
So,
nurse to take us on a little tangent
well, if
there.
only yourself then would see the things you've done in the future on the stage.
Exactly. She'd be like, "Oh my God, this is small potatoes. Get over
Yeah.
yourself, Andrea."
Yep.
um, yeah. So, but bringing it back, I think The Lost World is a really sadly overlooked. I feel like people mostly just remember the first, which of course, but then the third because Sam Neill is back.
Sure.
You know, and the Lost World just doesn't get that much love.
That's interesting. I feel like the third one is in the first trilogy is the least
It's
appreciated.
it's I think the weakest, but I feel like more people remember it. Cause like I said, because Sam Neill's back.
I think like tonally, I don't like the third one as much, but that movie is a roller coaster. Like that one to me, once it gets going, is just
Yes.
a rocket. It's
Yes.
intense and doesn't stop. And the like the ringer they send some of their characters through, I really like. I like it a lot. I have issues with how it starts or whatever, and then you can. I even enjoy some of the comic relief actually. They do a good job. So
Mhm. Yeah, it's like that classic like focused on a kid movie where you
yeah,
either like find the kid okay or he's really annoying.
yeah.
And I was one of the people who didn't love the whole kid part of that, but was more interested in like Sam Neill's assistant who tries to like take the dinosaur eggs and like like that
Mhm.
whole like subplot. And he's like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
you knew, like what are you doing?" And then he has to like sacrifice himself because,
which
of
is
course,
emotional and
it
awesome.
is. It is. Oh God. Even though I'm sitting there like, you idiot, it's still terrible that he has to
Mhm.
do it. So yeah.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, no, The Lost World is it starts out, I mean, you right away you know it's going to be darker than the first one because of course again, we have this like scene with a picnic on a beach and a little girl is like wandering
Yeah.
away and gets attacked by those like terrifying tiny little.
Mommy, Daddy, look what I found.
Yeah, oh my God. Like, side note, that would be the way I would not want to go. Like, millions of tiny little dinosaurs. I'd rather just have, like, one big one, just, like, make a clean, eating or killing of me. I don't want, like, thousands of tiny little dinosaur bodies. No, thanks.
Yeah, 5,000 cuts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, it'd be bad. And it's foreshadowing for the
Right,
later.
for later, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of dinosaurs, I actually found a really cool fossil in the field the other day.
Oh, really?
It's a rock with a bunch of seashells, fossilized
That's cool.
seashells in it. And yeah, I should have if I was thinking about talking about the Lost World, I would have brought it in here to show, or given
Little
Alan the
show and
picture to
tell,
put up or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's really I like it a lot because a lot of times when I'd find them, you get the imprint of the shell in the rock and see that looks cool, but this has some imprints but also like the whole thing being so it's got like a bunch of bumps, like half spheres in the rock.
Oh yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah.
So it's so
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's concave and convex, but yeah.
How often do you find stuff like that, or just like random, like dig up something that you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, not I do look usually when I'm picking up rocks. Do usually give them a look over,
Sure.
quick, just to see if I notice something at first glance. But sometimes they're pretty covered in dirt or whatever, and
Sure.
I don't have a particularly trained eye, so stuff does have to stand out a little more. But yeah, I do look at stuff. I would say each year for sure I'll find something
Okay.
when I'm working in the field. But usually it's just some more seashells. This was just
Sure.
more prominent and more of them on one nice rock. So that was cool. I remember as a kid, my dad found what must be the fossil of like a trilobite. It's like the big insect, looking thing in the water. And it's got the center part that's got all the grooves and stuff.
Yeah.
It was large. And he unfortunately
really
dropped it at one
cool.
point. I split it in half and then glued it
no.
back together. But yeah, we always had that as a kid. And he was going to bring it in the science museum. I don't remember if he ever did, to have him like properly identify it, but it was very clearly like the central part that's of one of those. So
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a fun little like surprise to look for every year. Like,
Yeah.
what's going to be the find in the field.
Yeah. Sometimes, you find an antler or something, and there's a lot of cool rocks. Like I definitely should study some, geology a little bit more, because I'm sure I could identify like, another thing I found like it's a foot and a half by 3-inch block of chalk.
Oh, okay, that's random.
So like an entire rock. Like you can normally find some chalk, but it's smaller. This is like a large one that had not broken yet. This big slab of chalk.
Interesting.
So I could go find it, and your kid in a couple years can have a lifetime supply of chalk. It's all white. It's all white color, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, you could have like little chalk crayons made, and you could be like cool Uncle John.
Oh, there, Alan found it. Picture.
That's awesome. Sweet. Yeah, wow. That's like so clearly defined too.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of them on there. But yeah, I love looking for that stuff. So thanks, Alan. What else? We got some other movies. We kind of both put our top 3 here.
Yes.
Of Julianne Moore films.
Yes. Conspicuously absent, I have to note before we say which ones are our other 2. Conspicuously absent for both of us are The Big Lebowski and Boogie Nights, which I feel like are cult classics, but I don't really think of her when I think of those. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like other people's performances are what stamp those movies for me. Like, Jeff Bridges or oh my God, all I can think of is Marky Mark. Why can't I think of Mark's name. I mean John Goodman for Big Lebowski, but for Boogie Nights, why can I not think of his name? Mark Wahlberger. Oh my God. Or Wahlberg.
His restaurant.
Woo! Yeah. Okay, I got there.
Yeah, I should have been able to help you out
like,
there, but I was stuck on Big Lebowski thinking about okay.
John Goodman. Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah. So like other people have put their stance on those movies. I just feel like while she's an integral part, they're not my favorite of her.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
Just want to preface that because I felt like there were big glaring omissions in her like filmography that we're not talking about are our favorite Julianne Moore movies. But
I will then use that to confess that I have seen neither Big Lebowski nor Boogie Nights.
No!
Neither of them.
Oh my God. I feel so much better about not having seen Tommy Boy right now.
I know. There's a lot of classics and well-liked things I just have not seen for sure. Like, yeah.
Well, you have to, I feel like you have to be in the right frame of mind to see both these movies for the first time.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Sure. It's still shameful. And
you should rectify that as I should rectify my Tommy Boy, omission.
But I did select The Fugitive. Even though I don't think of Julianne Moore when I think of The Fugitive either, but I just love that movie. So
it is good. Yeah. And then Children of Men, which I have not seen.
Oh, I love Children of Men,
but I've not seen Children.
I love it. So Children of Men, I believe, is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and so that's why I first heard of him. Because then he did Prisoner of Azkaban, and that's one of my favorite Harry Potter movies, if not my favorite one. And I think he's very talented. And I saw this movie in a very big screen. The sound was actually good for it, and it was just like a chaotic, depressing, impactful experience. I thought it was. Yeah, and Gravity too. That's what I wasn't quite sure about. He did Gravity as well, and I also love Gravity. So like, he's done movies I haven't seen, but those three are the ones I've seen of his, and I love all three of them.
Sure.
And so yeah, this movie has Julianne Moore and Clive Owen. This one focuses more on Clive Owen, and it was what made me like him to start. And it was the first movie I believe I bought on HD DVD. So when I was moving out for college and I had to I got my TV and stuff for entertainment or whatever, and I got an Xbox 360, and it was like, okay, I was making that choice. Am I going to do PS3 and Blu-ray, or am I going to do Xbox and the HD DVD attachment? Cool. Well, you can tell which way I went.
Yeah.
And you can tell how that decision went for me. Not well, but I believe I still kept it because it had both. It still would work as a DVD, but it had the red bordered case, and that was the first one I bought, and it's an excellent movie. So
okay, all right.
Yeah,
I do obviously like both of those actors. I think the first time I really loved Clive Owen was probably Sin City. Sure. But I've certainly seen other of his movies and still enjoyed him as an actor. But that was definitely my so good.
I bought red shoes, like red Chuck kind of shoes, after watching him in Sin City. Yeah,
absolutely. His character is just so cool.
Yeah.
So Alan's making fun of you.
Got any Betamax or laser discs sitting around on the shelf somewhere? I don't. I actually don't. No. Everything else I have has had a successful run. Whether that's cassette or vinyl, DVD, Blu-ray, just some of those HD DVDs.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school that had Yeah, he had the little like Sony. So it was kind of supposed to be, I guess, a response to like the
Yep.
iPod or something, but it was a little Sony Square thing, and I think
Yep.
it was called. I don't remember what it was called even, but it was kind of a disc, like CD disc combo thing, and it
Hmm.
was designed to be higher quality, and I think took had more capacity and all stuff. But yeah, I never got on board with that either. So Sony thing. It was a Sony thing. Yeah.
Was it?
Anyways.
What was the Zune?
Well, that's Microsoft. That's their response to the iPod specifically,
Right. Okay.
an
Yeah.
MP3 player. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
I over the years now I have consistently almost bought because I
Really?
never had a Zune growing up. I had an iPod, so
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the better version. UMD, no, the UMD ounces Sony UMD. UMD was a format they used for like the PSP, I believe. Um, but it's
Okay.
similar concept. Yeah, similar concept. Um, but forgot what I was saying. But yeah. Anyways,
Oh, the Zune that
Dune.
you almost
Yeah,
bought.
Dune. Yeah, and then they make fun of it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
They're like, "Here's the zoo, and this is what everybody's listened to on Earth." Thing. Yeah. But anyways, I could get into that, but that's a different podcast.
Indeed.
Um,
Or a different episode.
yeah. What are your two other favorites?
So my two other favorites are quite different, but I think her performances in them are quite amazing. And the Academy agrees with me, at least on one of them. She won the Oscar for her work in Still Alice, which is a movie about a celebrated linguistics professor um, who is diagnosed with Alzheimer's and then early onset. And then we go through the film as she slowly loses. Oh, Sony mini disc? Is that what
I
you're
think
thinking?
that's it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so we go through the film as she like slowly loses, first bits of her memory, things that she used to know professionally, and she slowly like can't remember things, starts losing her train of thought, has to quit her job, has to, get help at home because she can't remember simple things like where is the bathroom in my house. So she forgets, everyday things. Um, but it's a really beautiful human portrait kind of story.
That's
And
not as old, right? That's pretty
it's
recent.
it's yeah, like
Within
2013 or
5
14, I
years.
think.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not like just recent, but it's
Yeah.
still, I mean, within the decade. Um, yeah, absolutely fantastic film. I think Alec Baldwin plays her husband, who eventually
Oh,
divorces her and because he can't quite cope with everything that's going on. Kristen Stewart is one of her kids.
really?
Yeah, and it
How
actually
does she do?
works. It
Okay.
actually, yeah, she's just enough in the movie that I find it okay. You know what I mean?
How dare you?
Um, yeah, I'm sticking to that. Kristen Stewart she can at me. um, but yeah, so still Alice. I think she just gives a fantastic performance in that, and then also Crazy Stupid Love is one of those like romantic comedies that I think like is really brilliantly done. Like
Okay.
the portrait of her and Steve Carell as a married couple who like are, they got married so young and now they're in their 40s and they're, like, oh man, we just, did the whole marriage and kids thing, but maybe we shouldn't have. And, now they're like maybe going to get a divorce, exploring their separate lives. There's kind
Mm,
of a little bit of like, you know, different characters, elements like tie into the story in ways that you don't foresee. So it's like, different characters relate to each other and you think you're following two different stories. And then you get the surprise. This is how they're intertwined twist. But in not the terrible way that I think like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve or, like Love Actually is like the movie that kind of started all of that,
yeah. Mhm.
which I think is okay. But yeah, I think this movie does it better. So
Oh, bold words.
bold. That's who I am.
Bold.
uh,
You're like Doritos.
that's right. Bold and 3D.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen either Still Alice or Crazy Stupid Love?
I have not.
You
Nope.
definitely should. Definitely
Yeah,
should.
that was the thing.
Highly
Looking
recommend.
through the list of Julianne Moore movies, I felt like I have seen more of her works
Than you
than I had.
actually have? Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
because she's just
She pops
prominent.
up and stuff.
She
Yeah.
just, you mean, you know her. I've known her forever. I think it's probably because like seeing her as a young person in the Lost World really probably like cemented her as like she's one of the actresses. She's a good one, you know.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then just you just know
She's
she's in other things, but I haven't seen that many of them.
right.
So
Well, and she's just continued to have like a solid career.
yeah, like you look back at like the 110 film credits or something like that. It's just pretty steady, you know,
Yeah.
steady work.
Mhm.
So yeah. I think that's about it. How was
Yeah.
that, everybody, for our meandering, whatever we feel like, mishmash of an episode? Yeah,
kind of
let
kind of
us
fun to
know.
do these once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I think we're going to be busy now with, like you say, other things for sure
Mm-hmm.
coming up that we'll be discussing more specifically. But yeah. That was Popcast on the Rocks, episode 59. If you've made it all the way to the end here, congratulations. Good job. You're a true fan. Make sure that you let other people know that you're a true fan and like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing here on Twitch and on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook. And, you know, if you're into the social media things, go ahead and do that. We appreciate your support and any feedback you may provide. Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song. You can check them out on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I also play video games on stream with my brother-in-law, Lucas333. That's Lucas with a K. On Twitch. That's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's like four. It's been about four something p.m. Central Time. So take a look at that. We played some Fortnite today, and I think that's about it. We'll probably try to be back at our regularly scheduled time next week with something fun to talk about. And until then, thanks for joining me, Andrea.
Yeah, as always. Cheers, everybody.